Hey there, drone fans. Rick here again from Drone Valley. In today's clip, I'd like to review an incredibly clever portable charging device from a company called Zendure. The product is the Zendure A3TC external battery. Now, I know that name doesn't roll off the tongue, so maybe the marketing guys could have worked a little bit harder on that, but don't let that fool you. Because I promise you, the engineering team behind the design of this product burned the midnight oils to build as much brains and intelligence and smarts into that tiny little package as possible. Now, if you're a fan of the channel, you know I've reviewed a lot of battery banks over the years, and you might be thinking to yourself, really, Rick, another battery bank? How many of those things do you need? I don't need another battery bank, but I spend a lot of my time on the road. I'm either out flying my quads or I'm traveling to a client site, and I carry a lot of gear with me that needs to be recharged out in the field. These are thirsty devices. So the challenge is that the gear I'm carrying changes, the standards for charging that gear change, the actual technology behind the battery banks are changing. So there's an evolving landscape of standards out there that I have to stay ahead of. So I'm always on the lookout for the latest and greatest charging solution that'll allow me to charge the widest landscape of devices I'm carrying with me fully, quickly, and reliably. Now, this product stands apart from the crowd for a couple of different reasons, and I'm going to explain why in the clip. But before I do, let me just say in the spirit of full disclosure, the company did send me this product for review. They didn't just send it to me. I actually bought one, I used it for a couple of months, and I liked it so much that I sent them an email, like I often do, and I said, hey, you got a cool product there. Would you mind if I review it on my channel? And they got back to me and said, no, we'd love for you to review it on the channel. Matter of fact, we'll send you another one, and you can have a second one. I don't need a second one, and you guys know I love to give stuff away, so this one's sealed. I'm going to give it away to you guys for free. So watch the clip. When you're done, in the comments below, there's a link. Just enter your email address. I'll pull one randomly after 7 days. I'll put this thing in an envelope and I'll ship it to you free of charge. No strings attached, no shenanigans. And it's a worldwide contest, so I don't care where you live. It could be New Jersey, it could be Newfoundland, New Zealand, Nova Scotia. It could be someplace that doesn't start with an N too, but anywhere in the world. So enter the contest. If you win, I'm going to ship it to you free of charge. And as I often say, I promise you that the fact that I got one to free to send to you guys is not going to affect my opinion. I liked it so much that I actually contacted the company because I think it's a brilliant product. So, well, I'll tell you why in a couple of seconds. Before I get into the actual review though, I like to take a look at what comes with a product because it tells me a lot about the company. So when I buy products, more often than not, when you buy a battery bank like this, it comes in a cardboard sleeve, you open it up, and there's nothing in there, maybe not even a manual in there, and I hate that. So when I opened this thing up, I was really impressed with the landscape of things that they include with the product. So for starters, it's the unit itself. It's a 10,000 milliampere hour battery bank. It's got 2 USB connections on it, a full-size USB and a USB-C, and that's going to become important in a minute. But the feel of the product is real good. It's got a very high-end feel to it. It's very dense, it's very substantial, it's balanced well, it's just got a real high-end feel to it. So I like the feel of the product. In addition to the product, you'd expect to get that. You get a group of stickers. Kind of interesting. I don't know, maybe you want to put the Zendure name on a couple of things out there, so you got a couple of fun stickers you can use. They include a manual, printed manual. You know, it's a pet peeve of mine. I hate companies that sell me a product and put a link in the box for me to go to their website and print out a manual. So the fact that they put a printed manual in there means that they really want you to understand the safety behind this thing, how to use it, how to charge it, how to discharge it. All that information's in the manual. So good on you guys for putting the full manual in there. You also get a warranty. I can't tell you how rare this is with a device like that. Most companies that'll sell you a portable charging bank like this never want to hear from you again. They'll sell it to you. If it breaks, they want to make it as complicated as possible for you to get in contact with them to try and get a replacement. This warranty isn't a 6-month warranty. It's not a 12-month warranty. It's an 18-month warranty. And that just speaks volumes of how impressive the company is and how they really stand behind their products. They really believe this product's going to last for an awful long time. Now remember, you're going to have this on the road with you, so you're going to drop it. You're going to, put it in your bag. It's going to get banged around. If you're on airplanes, it's going to get banged around in the overhead. So an 18-month warranty on a product like this just tells me they've really built this thing and they're almost challenging me to break it because they're going to replace it within 18 months. So really cool. You get a pouch. Now, you don't need a pouch because this thing's incredibly durable, but you're carrying this and you're going to carry some cables to charge your devices. So having a nice little pouch that I can put this in and the cables that I want to charge things with in it really just makes it a lot more organized for me. They also include a cable. So this cable is a short cable that has a full-size USB-A connection on one end and a USB-C connection on the other end. And you can use this to both charge a device and charge something off the device if you want. And again, it's not a cheap cable. It's made by the same company. It's made by Zendure, and it's got braiding on the outside, so it's a heavy-duty cable. They also make other battery banks, wall chargers, and cables, so this is one of their cables. How nice that they included in the product. So that's a really nice collection of things that come with the product. And again, for me, when I open it up and I look at stuff like that, that tells me immediately that I've got a quality company I'm dealing with here, because they're not cutting corners. Most of these companies are trying to squeeze every penny of profit out of the products they make, and including this, even though it seems like it's not that big a deal, that costs some money. It's labeled, it's got their logo on there, they're including a cable. All these things add up, which means they're making less on the product, but that means they care about you as a consumer. So I like that they're including all that stuff. All right, so let me get some of this stuff out of the way and I'll talk about the product. So the product itself is really simple. There's not a lot to know about the product. You can charge up to 2 devices on it. Again, it's got a full-size USB-A over here and a USB-C over here. The USB-C is the one you use to charge it. And you can use any standard wall charger to charge this thing. The first feature I want to talk about, though, is that unlike a lot of the chargers out there, you can actually be charging the battery bank while you're drawing power out the other connection. And that's pretty unique, because most of these battery banks, if you land in a hotel, like I'll be in a hotel next week, I've got to charge this on one of my outlets and charge my phone or my devices on another outlet. It is kind of nice that I can eliminate one of those ports by just plugging this into the wall and plugging my iPad or my iPhone or whatever into this port and charge through the device. Now, it's incredibly clever to do that. It's not as fast as you're charging it directly from the wall, but where I'll typically use that is in an overnight charge. So if I've finished the day and I'm back in the hotel room, I plug this thing into the wall, get it charged up for my trip out the next day. I plug my phone into this, and by the time I get up in the morning, it's fully charged. So kind of nice. These 2 connections will deliver the standard USB connection. This one's got a 2.4 amp charging current. Now that's important because a lot of these battery banks will kind of cheat, and they'll give you like an amp, amp and a half, or maybe 2 amps. And even though you can charge stuff at a 2 amp charging current, it takes forever to do that. So the difference between a 2 amp and a 2.4 amp means that when you plug it into this connection, it's going to charge your device as quickly as possible and still charge it safely. The USB-C will deliver 3 amps of current, because that's the standard for USB-C. So if you have a USB-C device, you can connect the USB-C here to your USB-C device and charge it at a full 3 amps. The other thing that's interesting about this product, and this is something you're seeing in a lot of these new power banks, is that both of these ports are intelligent. And what I mean by that is I may carry 15 different portable devices with me between my laptops, my camera, my game controllers, my quad, my controllers, whatever it happens to be. All of those have different personalities. So when I connect them up to a battery bank, they're going to expect different things from that battery bank. So you're going to initially charge this. You're going to fire a lot of electrons at this thing, fill it up with electrons, connect your stuff up to it, and then draw those electrons back out of it. This guy has to be smart enough to understand the charging current and the way to reliably and safely charge that particular device, because charging an iPad and an iPhone are different devices. Certainly a quad and an iPhone are different devices. This guy has the brains built in. There's a little circuit board inside here with electronics on it that looks at every device you connect up, and it sort of assesses what you're trying to charge, and it says, all right, I know who you are. You've got a personality. Here's how I'm going to charge you. Then if you connect somebody up to the other port, it's going to do the same thing for that particular device. And if you change this device, it'll reassess a point connection exactly what that device needs. So it's constantly on the lookout for the perfect charging current based on how much charge it needs and the type of device you're connecting to charge it quickly as possible, but reliably. So very, very cool there. All right, so let me talk a little bit about the construction of the device. This thing is built like a tank. It's built to take the abuse of the road. And they've actually got a photo on their website. I haven't done this because I like it too much to actually try it. But they've got a photo on their website where they're running this thing over with a car. This composite exterior is a ribbed exterior for extra strength, but it's incredibly durable. So it's actually built to be the most durable one I've ever seen. I have a lot of battery banks out there. The first thing that goes on these are the connections on the end crack, or the actual case itself cracks because it's in my bag and it goes in an overhead and somebody puts something heavy on it and it cracks. I've had this thing for a couple of months. There's not even a scratch on the outside of this thing, so they've built it really well. You can't see it here, but I'll do a blow up of it. There's a rubber ring on the inside here. That's a compression ring, so they've actually built in shock absorption, so if you actually crush this thing, there's a little bit of give in there to actually, let this thing bounce so it's not going to crack the case. Inside this, I'm not going to take it apart, but inside there, they've built in heat sinks. Because when you charge this thing, it's going to get warm. When you're firing electrons in a LiPo battery, it's going to heat up. That's just the chemical process. When you discharge it, it's going to get warm. So how cool that they've actually built internal heat sinks inside there to contain the heat inside and be able to dissipate it evenly across the 2 different sides. So all that kind of stuff comes into play when you're dealing with a quality product like this. I talked about the charge through on it. There's also 2 other things that are happening lately with these charging units. The first one has to do with the efficiency of the charge. And there's 2 places where that comes into play. How efficient does it take a charge? Meaning, if I'm throwing a certain amount of current at it, does it allow all that current to get to the batteries and fully charge the batteries? Okay, if it takes a little longer, I don't really care because I plugged it into a wall, so it could take an extra 10 minutes. I wouldn't really notice that. But how efficient is it getting the electrons back out of the charger? So if I charge this thing up to 100% and the electronics in there are not that great, you may waste a lot of that current that's in the batteries and it'll never make it to the device you're charging. So how smart the device is really determines how many charges you get out of it, how efficiently it charges. This thing delivers, I think it was an 87% charge rate, which means if I charge it to 100%, 87% of that gets to the actual devices outside. I'm only losing 13% in the conversion between the batteries and the external. Nobody publishes those kind of numbers. So if you look at a lot of the battery banks out there, they won't tell you what that conversion number is because it's probably horrible. It's probably 30% or 50%. They're burning most of the power that you've charged this thing up with in the actual conversion back out to the thing you're charging. So that's absolutely amazing. One more feature I love about this product is what I'll call charge retention, which is something nobody else talks about. What frustrates the heck out of me is I may charge this thing when I get home from a trip and put it back in my bag. Maybe I'm not going out for a trip again for a week. I'm assuming it's still going to be fully charged. That's not the case. Most of the units you buy have leakage in them, where the electronics are constantly draining electricity from those batteries. It's pulling DC current out of those batteries. So you may let it sit for a week, take it out on the road and find out it's only 10% charged. And I'm thinking, oh man, I thought that thing was fully charged. This thing will hang on to a 95% charge over 6 months. Now, I haven't tested it yet because I've only had it a couple of months, but I can tell you I've charged it. I've let it sit a week or two, gone back out on the road, and it's at 100% charge on it. So there's virtually no leakage whatsoever or wasted current inside that battery. And that's a super important feature because you're going to want to charge this thing and put it away and forget about it. And if you wait for a couple of weeks and go out on the road and you haven't charged it, you're not going to have a battery charger that you can actually use on the road. So that charge retention is another key feature. So all these things together really put this thing in a league of its own. It's smaller than most of the 10,000 milliampere hour battery chargers I use. There's some that are really big and clunky and bulky. It's got really nice rounded edges on it. It's got a smooth exterior, slides in a pocket real well. I've used this to fly my quad, so I've got a Mavic Pro I fly a lot. I can actually connect the cable up to this, slip it in my pocket, and charge the controller when I'm flying. I've used it to charge some of the other drones that I can charge directly off it. So just a fantastic little charger. And again, there's a lot of chargers on the market. For me, the 10,000 milliampere hour, 10 to 12,000 milliampere hour is sort of that sweet spot. It's like that Goldilocks zone where you can carry one that's way bigger, and yeah, you're going to get more charge out of it, but it's big and heavy. You can charge a smaller one or carry a smaller one with you. You're not going to get as many charges out of it, so you get frustrated. This 10,000 milliampere hours is like right in that Goldilocks zone for me. It's the perfect size for a charger. So that's pretty much it. So again, it's the A3TC external battery is what they're calling it. I'll put a link below where you can go find it on Amazon if you want to check it out. It comes in two colors. It comes in black and silver. I like the black. I actually have another black that I'm going to be giving away as part of the contest. So when you enter the contest, you'll get one that looks exactly like this. But for me, this has fast become my favorite charger, and I carry it with me pretty much everywhere I go, and it's the one I go to more often than the others. I carry a couple with me, but this is the one that I absolutely use more than the other ones that I have with me. So that's pretty much it for today. Thanks an awful lot for watching. If I've missed anything or you have questions on any of the features that maybe I didn't cover in enough detail, drop them in the comments below and I'll get back to you as quickly as I can. I love doing these clips, so I hope you guys are finding value in them and you continue to watch the channel. We've really been impressed with the growth of the channel over the last year. It really warms my heart to know people are enjoying these clips. So thanks an awful lot for tuning in. Until next time, happy flying.